Now, I'm here with Bakr Hawari. That was your mosque.
Yes, that's Virgin Mary Mosque in Melbourne's West, Loughlin.
Absolutely. So I guess you've been really building a community there recently. What's been going on?
Heaps of things have been going on. I mean, our electorate is one of the fastest growing electorates, I would say. The Muslim community is largely growing with about 5 mosques there right now, other than the little pockets and community centres where people are praying. So it's a real community hub.
Yeah, sure. So I guess with the fastest growing mosque, I guess has lots of new faces. So how are you part of, I guess, like welcoming those new faces really to the mosque?
Certainly. There's our mosque is one of, I would say, one of the most multicultural mosques in Victoria, with over 30 nationalities, and that's what's becoming overall the mosques in Victoria, because Muslims are coming from every part of the world. A lot of people think that Muslims are only from the Middle East. There's Muslims that are coming from Africa, from Asia, from Indonesia, those places as well, and then as well as the Middle East, Arabia. So even Muslims in Europe are coming. So it's much broader than we think, and they're all coming in around certain values and have a consensus around certain values.
Absolutely. So I want to talk about those values in just a moment, because you're supporting, I guess, a campaign, an initiative called My Vote Matters. Can you tell me a little bit about that?
My Vote Matters is an initiative. It's a grassroots campaign by the Islamic Council of Victoria, the peak body representing Muslim societies and organisations in Victoria. They aim to make Muslims vote based on an informed decision. They don't tell you they're bipartisans. They don't tell you vote this way. They don't tell you vote that way. They're not like a political thing per se, but they're advocating for Muslims to vote. They're advocating for Muslims to vote an informed decision, and they have a scorecard which is available. And the scorecard tells you, for this certain party, they're covering this area. They're partially addressing it, they're addressing it, or they're not addressing it. Now, how I like to look at it, that scorecard kind of tells you, all right, and that scorecard, I think, is very important to mention, Loughlin. It covers all things that the average Tom, Dick and Harry are worried about as well. So it's not like the Muslim community is some isolated community that's, has completely separate issues. A lot of them are working class, a lot of them are small business owners, a lot of them are doctors. So they're concerned about, the average things that every Australian is worried about: the rising cost of living, home, education, the infrastructure. And I'd say there are distinct things that are for the Muslim community, but I would say certainly the Muslim community leaders, part of that is the My Vote Matters, and every single have been asking their community to make an informed decision at our mosque. As you probably saw before, we're asking people to be part, to elect and to participate based on their values. I mean, we're not bringing religion into politics here, but because Australia is a secular state. But what we're saying is, if everybody's meant to vote according to their values, then we're voting according to our values, which are based off our religion.
Absolutely, and so that's where the scorecard comes in. I guess you're non-partisan, obviously, but are there any parties that are tending to come top of the class on those scorecards?
Look, the scorecard does not cover every single party, because that's near impossible.
Absolutely. So many
covers,
now, right?
Yes, heaps of parties all over. But it covers the major 3 or the major 2 and the third, which are the Labor, the Liberal and the Greens. And it has those, as I said, it says, okay, this issue addresses, partially addresses, or does not address. And what I like to tell people is, don't look at it in terms of quantity, but look in terms of what's on there and see what's the most important to you, what's your priority, and vote based on that. In Islam, actually, part of our values, and I've tried and I've advocated personally for people to vote based on that, we have something called the 5 necessities. So those are something that, as a Muslim, you should always aim to maintain, and that is your life, as a human, your religion, as well as your wealth. So what's better so in election it would be what's better for the community and what's better for the person as well as the mind and how it's how it stays stable, as well as the final thing would be family. Family is very important, and that's certainly, I'll come to that, it's creating a change and a shift in the way the Muslim community is voting, their views on family, and I guess the evolution that's happening, that their views are obviously conservative views, and that is changing the way Muslims vote. Absolutely.
Now, there are some priorities we were just discussing off air in, I guess, issues of particular importance to the Muslim community. So there's been a bit made at this campaign about religious discrimination and possible legislation there. What's the sentiment kind of in your community?
Look, the sentiment, as people probably saw in the video before, people, as I said, the Muslim community has all the concerns that everyone else has. Some of them are working class and they're voting accordingly. Some of them are small business owners and they're voting accordingly, more to the Liberals, the others. But there's two matters that I would focus on. Religious freedoms, also the parents and their rights, and the way family is, and the way we interpret family. That's really concerning Muslim votes. And I would say traditionally, I would comfortably say the Muslims have generally voted for the Labour Party, because they saw, especially after 9/11, they needed an ally in the left who promotes multiculturalism and so on. Now there's a big shift where we see the Labour Party is making a lot of laws that don't comply with those values. The Muslim community is a multicultural community.
So we're starting to see some swing voters, really.
Yes, certainly, towards I would say the Liberal Party or independents, or away from the Labour Party or the Greens, who, yes, advocate multiculturalism, who advocate diversity, who worked a lot with before. But what we're seeing now is people are concerned about laws like the Equal Opportunity Act, where people in the Muslim community want to make sure that they can teach their values in religious schools, in Muslim schools, obviously without preaching hatred or anything like that. Yes. They want to make sure we choose who teaches our kids. They want to make sure there's even bills that are, are promised to be passed on Daniel Andrews' government, which say, a mature minor can change or transition their gender if they seem mature without parental consent. So that creates a lot of, backlash in the Muslim community.
A bit controversial, for sure. Yeah, no, I want to come back to, I guess, hatred, because we were talking also off air about Islamophobia and hate crimes, which are obviously a very really big concern for you. Just very briefly, because we are running out of time. Tell me a little bit about that.
So racism and Islamophobia is the other thing I was going to get to. And yes, certainly it is a concern for the Muslim community, especially vulnerable Muslim women. They're very visible, they're wearing their hijab, they're going out there, they're trying to participate in every part of society. And we have seen, and the statistics show, there's an Islamophobia register, you can go there and check it. There are, there's a lot of Islamophobia, way more than it should be. And this not only, as I want to say, not only affects Muslims, but it really affects the social cohesion of society, because we want Muslim men and women to participate. We want people from all parts and walks of life to participate in Australian society.
Yeah, and I think it comes back to participation, doesn't it?
Yes, participation, and as well as Muslims, we don't want to get lost in the left-right culture war. No. We want to go beyond that, because we have some progressive and we have some conservative values, so we're trying to walk that way, and I think people saw that in the video that we saw before as part of the mosque. Absolutely.
Well, definitely your vote matters, my vote matters, all our votes matter. Thank you so much for coming on the program.